When it comes to freshwater fish, few groups spark more debate than these. The vibrant, the temperamental, and the downright dramatic. Today, we're diving into rainbowfish and their friends in a tier list, okay? We're going to be ranking some of the most stunning and popular species in the hobby. From the easygoing champs to the high-maintenance prima donnas, we are covering it all. Whether you've kept these fish or just admired them from across the store, get ready. This lineup is packed with beauty, personality, and a few surprises. Listen, rainbowfish are the social butterflies of the aquarium world. They're active, full of personality, and always putting on a show. They come in a wide variety of sizes and colors, from compact dwarf varieties to larger Bosemani types that shimmer like living gemstones under proper lighting. The way they school is genuinely mesmerizing, flashing metallic blues, reds, and yellows as they cruise through open water. They thrive in tanks with swimming room and good flow to match their energy, and they're hardy, and they're pretty long-lived when provided with clean water and a quality diet. The major advantage here is that they're peaceful with most community fish, so that means you can create some beautiful combinations. The only real consideration is providing adequate horizontal space. Cramped tanks don't do them justice, but for a medium to large setup, rainbowfish are outstanding. With their color, energy, and adaptability, they are swimming confidently in S tier, right off the bat, baby. The ultimate schooling showpieces. Dwarf Gourami is a beautiful little gamble. Their bright neon blues and reds are irresistible, but their personality can be, inconsistent. Some are calm and curious, others think they own the entire tank and everybody in it. That unpredictability is what makes keeping them challenging. In the right setup, heavily planted, adequately sized, and not overcrowded, they can be graceful centerpiece fish that hover and explore peacefully. But place them in the wrong environment and they turn territorial pretty quickly. Add the unfortunate reality that many are prone to disease due to intensive breeding practices, and they're not the reliable choice that they once were. Kinda sad. Still, when healthy and properly housed, they're genuinely beautiful and full of character. They're just not a universal recommendation anymore, which actually drops them down into C tier. Rewarding if you plan carefully, but too unpredictable to rank higher. It's like adopting a cat. You just never know what personality you're getting. Discus are the undisputed royalty of freshwater aquariums, and they absolutely know it. Everything about them screams elegance and refinement, the colors, the symmetry, the graceful presence, but they demand near perfection in return. Really diva energy, if you know what I mean. Warm, soft, stable water, frequent maintenance, and a calm tank with carefully chosen tank mates. They're not impossible to keep, they're just demanding. Beginners are often drawn in by their stunning appearance only to discover they've committed to intensive aquarium management. But if you meet their exciting standards, they reward you with the most graceful swimming and vibrant coloration in freshwater fish keeping. Some strains are hardier than others, but as a group, they're sensitive to stress and sudden changes, so keep that in mind. They're also slow, methodical eaters, which does complicate community setups. For experienced keepers with patience, they're mesmerizing. For most others, they're an expensive lesson in water chemistry. That puts Discus in C tier. Gorgeous, but requiring some more effort than most fish are worth. They're basically the high-maintenance houseplants of the aquarium world. The electric blue Acara is the perfect example of beauty meeting reasonable temperament. They've got that striking electric color that stands out in any lighting, and they're surprisingly peaceful for a cichlid, which is refreshing, honestly. They'll coexist with most mid-sized tank mates, provided those tank mates aren't bite-sized. They have personality without being destructive, and they're intelligent enough to recognize their keeper. Pretty cool. They do appreciate space, though. A 40-gallon or larger tank is ideal here. Think of them as the reasonable cousin of the more aggressive cichlid family. They're substantial fish that still coexist peacefully. If you want a colorful, intelligent fish that plays well with others, well, the Acara is an excellent pick, but since they outgrow smaller tanks and require thoughtful companion selection, we're gonna nestle them into C tier. A fantastic fish, just not suitable for every setup. You know, my friends, the Cardinal Tetras are small but impressive when it comes to the color intensity. Their neon blue and brilliant red stripes are iconic, and a school of them instantly elevates any aquarium. They're peaceful, graceful, and pair beautifully with other calm community fish. But what's the catch? Well, they're somewhat sensitive, especially during initial acclimation. They prefer soft, warm, and stable water, so consistency does matter. Once established, though, they are long-lived and active without being chaotic. They bring that authentic Amazonian stream atmosphere to your aquarium. Because of their slightly delicate nature, they don't quite reach the top tier despite their undeniable beauty. We're not saying they're ugly. I mean, they're showstoppers, but they require a bit more attention and patience than the hardier species. So I'm gonna rest them comfy in the B tier. Gorgeous and graceful, just not quite indestructible. The paradise fish is the OG. It's one of the oldest aquarium species in the hobby, actually, and it's stuck around for good reason. They're colorful, hardy, and can even thrive in unheated tanks, making them suitable for various climates and setups. They've got a distinctive look, somewhere between a Betta and a Gourami, but with a more balanced temperament than you'd expect. They do appreciate their personal space though, so tank mates need careful consideration. With the right balance, they make excellent centerpiece fish, interactive, curious, and always front and center during feeding time. Their resilience and adaptability make them a classic that never really went out of fashion. For all those reasons, paradise fish sit proudly in A tier, a vintage gem that still performs beautifully in modern fish keeping. They're like that reliable car from the 90s that just won't quit, even when many people back into you at the bank. Not that I haven't experienced that 100 times. Anyways, Killifish are they're like the hidden treasures of the freshwater world. Their colors rival many saltwater species, which are pretty, and they're fascinating in both behavior and breeding biology. The variety here is enormous, people, from peaceful annuals that live brief, spectacular lives to semi-predatory types that demand species-only tanks. They're often kept by enthusiasts who appreciate their beauty and the unique challenge that comes with it. The trade-off? Some species are short-lived by nature or have very particular water preferences, so they're best suited for keepers who enjoy experimentation and maintaining dedicated setups. They'll reward you with some of the most striking coloration that you'll encounter in fresh water. They're not always easy to source, but they're worthwhile when you find them. With their combination of beauty and complexity, they sit right there in B tier. Stunning, but definitely not for casual community tank keeping. Alright, hear me out. Now, the German blue ram. This is arguably one of the most beautiful freshwater fish ever bred. It's also one of the most demanding to keep successfully, I might add. They need near-perfect conditions, warm, soft, stable water, and minimal stress. They don't handle fluctuations well, and even minor parameter shifts can cause them to fade, or worse, become ill. When they're healthy and thriving, though, they are a dream. Vivid colors, engaging behavior, and genuine elegance. I mean, the challenge is maintaining those conditions consistently over time. Compared to other delicate species like discus, rams are somehow even less forgiving. Yeah, they're not inherently problematic fish though, they're just too fragile for most typical setups. For that reason, unfortunately, they fall into the D tier. They are stunning to look at, but more anxiety-inducing than most aquarists would ever want to deal with. They're beautiful, but keeping them alive feels like a full-time job. African cichlids are the rock stars of freshwater, bold, intensely colorful, and absolutely bursting with personality. Their colors can legitimately rival coral reef fish, and their behavior is endlessly entertaining to observe, but they exist in their own specialized world when it comes to care requirements. Hard alkaline water, careful aggression management, and specialized diets are all part of the package. They need adequate space and structural complexity. We're talking rocks, caves, and defined zones to establish those territories. When executed properly, they are among the most rewarding setups in the hobby, but they're definitely not plug-and-play community fish. They require commitment, planning, and strategic tank mate selection. Because of that complexity and specialized requirement, they sit comfortably in C tier. Brilliant fish. I mean, seriously. But strictly for dedicated hobbyists. You don't casually keep African cichlids, you commit to the lifestyle. Fancy guppies are like swimming confetti. Colorful, lively, and full of character. You can find them in virtually any color combination imaginable, from metallic blues to fiery reds to these wild patterns that look like they're hand-painted. They're peaceful, enthusiastic breeders, and they bring constant motion to the tank. The challenge is that some heavily line-bred strains have become somewhat delicate, and you might occasionally encounter a weak genetic line. Still, for pure enjoyment and visual variety, guppies deliver consistently. They're excellent for community tanks, especially if you manage their enthusiastic reproduction. Yeah. They're perfect for beginners and experienced fish keepers alike who want reliable color and activity in their setup. Fancy guppies swim confidently into B tier. Classic, dependable, and full of personality. Plus, they breed so prolifically you'll never run out, whether you want to or not. My friends, bettas might be small, but they possess more attitude and color diversity than nearly any other commonly available fish. They're intelligent, interactive, and genuinely enjoy exploring their environment when given proper space. In an appropriately sized tank, we're talking not a bowl, they display natural behaviors you won't see in cramped conditions. They can even coexist in community setups if carefully planned with peaceful species and adequate room. Short-fin varieties perform best in more active setups, while long-fin varieties prefer calm, still water. They're relatively low maintenance compared to many other showcase fish, and their color varieties are practically endless. A content betta is genuinely enjoyable to watch. Curious, confident, and full of personality. That balance of beauty, intelligence, and resilience earns them a solid A tier, the perfect solo star for carefully planned community centerpieces. Severums are often called the gentle giants of the cichlid world, and that description fits them pretty well. They're large, colorful, and surprisingly calm for their substantial size. They move through the water with regal bearing that makes them feel like true tank royalty. They're social and interactive, often recognizing their owners and following you around the room. Like, in a cute way, not in a stalker way. But they come with one significant drawback. They absolutely love interior decorating. Plants? Consider them appetizers. Decorations? Expect frequent rearrangement according to their preferences. They also require considerable space. A 75-gallon minimum here is recommended. For aquarists with room and patience, they're incredibly rewarding to keep, but their size and plant-consuming habits makes them less than ideal for planted aquascapes. That places them in C tier. Peaceful, gorgeous, and somewhat demanding in their own way. They're like having a toddler who rearranges furniture when you're not looking. Yeah, it's not fun, but it kinda is. The Turkana jewel cichlid is an underappreciated beauty in the hobby. Compared to standard jewel cichlids, they're somewhat more controlled in their aggression and slightly easier to manage successfully. Their coloration when breeding or content is genuinely breathtaking. Deep reds and blues, like they almost seem to glow. They perform best in well-structured tanks with adequate space to establish territory, and they're best housed with fish that can handle some attitude. They're not community fish in the traditional sense, but they're far from impossible to work with. With proper planning and appropriate tank mates, they make stunning showpiece fish. Still, their spirited personality prevents them from ranking any higher. They're sitting comfortably in C tier. A gorgeous fish for those willing to handle a bit of temperament. Let's talk about the Florida flagfish. It's one of those underrated species that deserves considerably more attention. Native to North America, as you could have guessed, they have subtle beauty, shimmering greens, golds, and reds that show off their true colors under proper lighting. They're peaceful, resilient, and function as algae eaters, making them both attractive and functional. They thrive in unheated setups and tolerate a wide range of water parameters. The only consideration is with males, they can become territorial if space is limited, but it's easily managed with adequate room and plant cover. They're uncommon in stores, but they're, absolutely worth acquiring if you do find them. With their unique appearance and practical benefits, flagfish easily earn B tier. Waving high. They are useful, hardy, and quietly beautiful. Plus, they eat algae, which automatically makes them more helpful than most fish. Now, Apistogrammas are like the compact packages of color and personality that you find in a freshwater tank. They're intelligent, territorial, and endlessly entertaining to observe. In a well-structured tank, they'll claim caves, interact with their owners, and display complex social behaviors. Now, they're not suitable for every tank, with a 20-gallon long being the bare minimum for comfort, and breeding pairs can become quite assertive. The payoff, though, some of the most stunning color patterns available in the freshwater hobby. The variety across species is remarkable, from yellows to electric blues to deep reds. They're small fish with substantial character. Perfect for aquarists who appreciate interaction and a little bit of challenge. With the right setup, they're genuine stars, and that keeps them in a strong B tier. Rewarding, but best suited for keepers who understand their spatial requirements. But folks, there you have it. A collection of the hobby's brightest colors, most distinctive personalities, and most interesting challenges. From the stunning rainbowfish to the frequently misunderstood cichlids, every species here has its own story and ideal environment. But tell me, Which of these do you think deserves a higher ranking? You think we missed the mark? Or maybe I was too generous? Maybe some of these guys should have been knocked down a couple notches. Well, let us know in the comments and tell us your tank stories, and subscribe for more ranking discussions. Until next time, keep your water clear and your fish content. See ya!